Well, hello there, folks. So this time we're going to be talking about Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine, and that is the band, not the ex-president. Ha ha ha. Well, that's my attempt at humor regarding the already zany title of the group, and hopefully I explain my attitude about the band Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine in an adequate way because I sort of have a love-hate relationship with them. It's kind of tough to explain because it's not like I really identify with their sound that much or whatever. And in fact, they end up playing a little bit too often on my Pandora radio station. And I don't really want to give them a thumbs down by clicking that button because then Pandora would probably be like, well, now he never wants to hear them ever again. And, it's not quite like that. It's just they're a little bit overplayed for whatever reason on my little Pandora station. But, it's one of those things where I could get into their songs a little bit more if it wasn't for that. But I will say they are catchy and they're a band that sounds a little bit different somehow. Their original style sounds like a blend of the Sex Pistols, Blur, maybe some Elvis Costello, a dash of the Beatles, All You Need Is Love, and some elements of Grandmaster Mel Mel's White Lines. It's a weird mix, and I'm not really sure how to explain it exactly. I think if you were to make a playlist of those kind of bands and those songs that are listed, it would sound a little bit like Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine. Although I'm not really sure. I guess that could be an experiment for you to try. And I don't pay much attention to the lyrics, but I am under the impression that they are socially conscious novelty songs in a way, or something like that. Like they at least sound that way. I'm assuming that they have some message involved, but usually when they appear on my Pandora station, it's sort of background music to whatever I happen to be doing at the moment. So this is a band that started in 1987, and they had success between the late 80s and early 90s. The members who are the main people, there's singer Jim Bob Morrison, and the guitarist is named Les Fruitbat Carter. And you gotta love somebody who calls himself Fruitbat. Well, I guess you don't have to love them, but it's definitely not the biggest strike against a person if they refer to themselves as Fruitbat. Um, Frankly, I wish I had a nickname like that. None of my nicknames are really that good. Um, some people called me Charlie Brown because I look like Charlie Brown as a baby, I guess. But then again, how many babies don't look a little bit like Charlie Brown? So that is not really that interesting of a nickname. And another nickname is Wado Potato. That is what my ex stepdad had called me. But that's not really that interesting of a name either. Fruit Bat, you can't really beat that though. I guess you could try. Maybe Captain Beefheart is slightly more interesting, but you gotta give Fruit Bat some credit. And interesting fact: the Les Carter Fruit Bat guy is a former presenter on the radio station Phoenix FM. He was hosting a regular weekly show between 2001 and 2011, and obviously this band was commercially successful, but for one reason or another, they're apparently no longer really doing much of anything. In fact, it seems like they might have basically broken up. They did have some like brief reunion moments, um, but it seems like they're a little bit in the System of a Down territory, or Rage Against the Machine, or that kind of stuff. Like maybe they'll occasionally, every 5, 10, 15 years, have like some sort of gig or something, but It's almost more like a, you know, a just a one-off gimmick here and there instead of like a full-on tour. But let's see. The other person, James Morrison, he's a solo artist, and I guess he's more recently worked with other musicians on other projects. And in case you're wondering, like, where do they get their other sounds? Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine uses sequenced basses and drum machines with rock and roll guitars. That's what Wikipedia says. And sure enough, that's a pretty accurate description. I think this is one of those bands that you should go ahead and check out. Don't assume that you're going to love them. They might not absolutely knock your socks off, but I would say just give them a chance. Maybe you'll really get into them. So this is sort of a lukewarm band recommendation, but it's not like you have to get that immersed into a band in order to think, well, they're all right. You know, sometimes sometimes a band can pretty much just be that, and it's just fine. So really, that's all I have to say about them. And I wanted to do another quick music slash band recommendation. And as far as like future episodes of this podcast, I'll be pretty busy next week, but I am planning to still make the minimal 5 episodes per week that I kind of pledged to do, even though I've got some important stuff going on that I really have to do next week. But I'm going to try to make time. So expect that. Also, I'm going to be doing more movie reviews, that kind of stuff. I might even branch out into covering some trivia. And it's not like I'm going to completely stop doing any sort of political commentary or social commentary. But we're going to have diversity of content in the future, hopefully. So I'm not just talking about one type of thing or whatever. So all right, well, have a good day.